Everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, so got a bunch of comics this week and got like a Marvel previews. so I'm excuse me. I'm gonna try to shoot two videos this week. So I'll show you the stuff I've been reading over the last couple of weeks or so, and then we'll go through the Marvel previews, and then I'll show you some trades and things have come in the mail for me, so maybe we'll open these together and maybe we'll do it that way. So let's just jump into it. Justice League 39. I've really been enjoying it. There's some interesting things going on with the Justice League and the government and the public and what people think. What do I want to say? How much the Justice League should be held accountable. In this issue, Cyborg has been made the official spokesperson or chairman, and the State Department wants him to turn over Batman. And he's like, look, I can't tell Batman what to do. And he's like, well, you're the leader. Then there's this thing where there's this whole natural disaster that happens. And at first they're going to evacuate everyone, but then they decide, well, that's not going to be practical. We'll just have to contain the disaster. And as the Justice League flies by, they take care of the problem. But some of the people in our town are like, oh, the Justice League, they don't care about poor people. How dare they? And I just think it's really interesting the way that Christopher Priest brings in all these different sort of ideas and issues and things like that. I think it's really well done. I guess he's just only on the comic for this arc. I can't remember, was it Jeff Lemire who's supposed to take over? But yeah, really solid stuff coming out of Justice League right this second. Punk's Not Dead #1. I saw Travis talking about it, so I had to give it a shot. Basically, I need to reread it, but in a nutshell, it's about this shy guy who is mentored by the ghost of Sid Vicious. And it's like, yeah, okay then. So, it's okay. It's okay for what it is. I got kind of a kick out of it. Decent art, well paced enough. So yeah, it's decent. Aquaman 33. I have not read it, but I've talked about Aquaman a lot. Really enjoying this series. Maestros, Steve Scroce, I don't know how to say his name, and David Stewart. Really fun comic. Normally, this sort of like fantasy isn't really my thing. But I enjoy this. Great art, lots of like over the top body humor and things like that, and it mostly works. Basically, the main character is the son of this big wizard. The wizard dies or whatever, and so the son takes over. And of course, you have all the other sort of fantasy characters and whatnot trying to fight either with him or against them, and everybody's vying for power. But like I said, just a really solid, fun comic. Moonshine #7. This return of this title. I have not read this particular issue yet, but it's basically about werewolves and prohibition and gangsters and the South and race and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Just a really interesting mix of genres and subtly, subtly dealing with, like I said, things like segregation and whatnot. Twisted Romance 3 and 4. I read issues 1 and 2. So I went out and got 3 and 4. Just kind of offbeat sort of romance tales. Yeah, that's basically it. I find it entertaining, so it's just like a kind of fun change of pace. Doom Patrol meets Justice League. This is, I guess, the end of the sort of crossover that the Justice League was doing with the Young Animal line. I find this. I bought the first one. I kind of liked it, and I kind of liked the whole kind of postmodern, you know. Yeah, I guess that's what I want to say. Postmodern meta text deal to it. Basically, it seems like the whole point of it was to kind of revamp like I said, the Young Animal line. Looks like there's been some changes made to the Doom Patrol. You see some titles here are going to get brand new number ones. It's kind of funny. The whole point of the story is talking about retcons and revamps and continuity and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny that it's a story that does revamp a comic book in the real world that we live in, where at the same time the characters in the stories are talking about revamps and things like that. So only one thing was kind of confusing to me. Toward the end of the story, a character is brought back to life, but I had thought that that character had already been brought back, some years ago by either John Byrne or Keith Giffen or somebody like that. Like I thought that character was no longer dead anymore. Maybe because of the New 52, that character died or was gone, or I don't know. I don't know, but like I said, they bring back this character that I thought had been brought back, but okay, whatever. This really good. Abbott number 1, Abbott number 2. Basically, it is about this newspaper reporter, and she kind of takes on these cases that have to deal with like the occult. It's set in Detroit in 1970, in the early 1970s, and it's just a real interesting blend of kind of like that hard-boiled detective mystery type thing with, like I said, lots of occult references, very plot heavy, lots of dialogue, but it doesn't seem wordy to me. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot interesting characters, interesting approach to the different characters. What else was I gonna say? Oh, you also, like I said, it's set in the 70s, so there's lots of things going on with, again, racial issues at the time, gender issues at the time. The character has to deal with like a certain amount of sexism, subtle racism, but you're not really. I think it's well done. It's really thought out, the approach, I thought. Okay. Mira number 1, I liked it. Obviously, it's a spin-off of the Aquaman title, and not particularly groundbreaking, but it's decent. It's a decent comic book. She's basically right now trapped on land, and she can't go back to the sea and help Aquaman. Oh, this is interesting. There's a recreation of those old ads you'd see in like a 70s DC comic, like from the mid 70s. So then, back then, it would say, first we brought you the world's greatest heroes. Then we brought you great mystery titles. And now here's our newest line of superstars. And but then the characters, these are these dark matter characters here. But in the old 70s one, it had like Warlord and Claw and some character named Stalker and Justice Incorporated, which was like, I think Jack Kirby's taken an old pulp character. So it's funny that they're doing the kind of retro ads there, just like Marvel is sort of kind of doing. But anyway, yeah, just really fun stuff here. Well, it's decent. It's decent. Not great, but it's decent. Silencers number 2. Really enjoyed. Basically, the premise is the same with like movies like Long Kiss the Night, Good Night, and I can't think of that comic, but that's a comic that's coming out from Dark Horse, where the idea is the main character is this woman who, on one hand, is this, middle class housewife, but on the other hand, she has this secret life as a deadly assassin. Like I said, solid comic. The biggest thing that bugs me though, is her little battle suit or costume or whatever. It's so bland. It's so bland and boring. I just would have thought that John Romita Jr. would have come up with something a little bit more interesting. But other than that, though, his art is pretty good. I've seen other things he's done that were really loose and rushed before, but here he's going back to his really kind of tight pencils and things. So it's a decent comic. Terrifics #1. The big thing about this comic is another one of it's very obviously DC doing their riff on the Fantastic Four. Where actually most of these comics are sort of playing around with archetypes that you see at Marvel. So Damage is the Hulk, Silencer is the Punisher, Sideways is Spider-Man, Terrifics is the Fantastic Four. Not too sure about the Immortal Men, but Brimstone, I don't know. Just reading from a little preview in here, maybe Son of Satan, maybe Spawn, though. It really makes me think of Spawn. Then you got, Challengers. I'll talk about that in a second. Not too sure where they're going with the Unexpected either, but we'll see. But yeah, Terrifics. Like I said, it's DC doing the FF, right? Here's a little fold out thing. Oh, we'll talk about this in a second too. But who's on the back of this fold out? The Challengers of the Unknown. And it's no secret that before he came over to Marvel Comics, Jack Kirby was over at DC, and he was doing Challengers of the Unknown at DC, and it was a similar format. Challengers of the Unknown don't have any superpowers, but they're this small group of like 4 or 5 guys, or about 4 guys, and they fly around the world, and they have these great adventures, and they seek out the, science fiction-y type things at the time. So the Terrifics is the Fantastic Four, but the Fantastic Four is Challengers of the Unknown. Here's another interesting thing. This character here, this is Tom Strong. This was a character that Alan Moore created when he was doing work for Wildstorm. And yeah, I thought it was a creator-owned thing. Maybe he gave his permission for it to be used in a DC universe, or maybe it's a co-owning thing. But it's really interesting to see. There's this character showing up in this comic. Promethea is showing up in Justice League of America, and yeah, like I said, it's just interesting seeing that and being aware how much that Alan Moore has a big grudge against DC Comics. So, but anyway, really cool art in this comic. By Ivan Reyes. And Joe Prado. Joe Prado is the inker. And Jeff Lemire wrote the story. Basically, we've got Mr. Terrific, Plastic Man, and Metamorpho teaming up with Phantom Lass? Good. And this is basically, they're out somewhere in the dark multiverse or something like that. And this is pretty much a getting the band together issue. Oh, this is, well, I probably better not. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil that. But, yeah. The rest of it is a little spoil stuff for you. I won't spoil the last page. The last page is they meet Tom Strong. But you know what? That's not a spoiler, seeing as here he is on the fold-out cover. So, but there's some other little interesting tidbits that that happen, so I won't spoil those. But yeah, really solid issue, really fun. I love the art, and I'm really interested in seeing where this comic's gonna go. Chapter 2, issue 2 of Days of Hate, written by I can't say his name, Elise Cott, and the art is Daniel Zizzoli? I don't know. But basically, it's kind of a interesting enough. It's I'd say kind of a political thriller. I'm not exactly sure where the story's going so far. You seem to have people who seem to be double agents. You seem to have these radicals who think they're going to, I don't know what. And you have other people walking around. I like the art. I think we're still in the kind of setting things up and establishing, you know, the mystery and things like that. So, not too sure how long this comic's gonna last, but it looks like we're kind of on a slow burn. So, oh wait, duh! It says it right here on the cover, 2 of 12. So yeah, we're not even, you know, we're still in the first act. Multiple Warheads. haven't read it yet, but I'm really eager, I should say, to kind of dive into it. I just really love what Brandon Graham just does with art and layouts and lettering and symbolism and all that sort of thing. It's just a weird, surrealistic trip, and I really like that he's able to take advantage of the comic book page, and it feels like a comic book, you know? It's something that you could just do with pen and ink and lines on paper, you know? It's not one of these things where people are like constantly photoshopping you know, stuff from random, well, I shouldn't say random, but constantly photoshopping things they've Googled to cut down on the work. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like I said, you really appreciate what somebody can do with words and images in 2 dimensions. All right, okay. So let's see, maybe we'll take a quick look at previews. Cheers. All right, so yeah, there's a little thing here that the store put on this, reminding you to go to Google and get their app. But anyway, okay. So here we're gonna have a fresh start, and it's like we're having a revamp, but aren't we already in the middle of a revamp with the whole legacy thing? As a matter of fact, that's if you ask me, that's really what this is. It's still legacy. They're just rebranding it for some bizarre reason or not. But you know, Avengers #1, Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. I'll probably give it, you know, 2 or 3 issues at the very least. What else? New Black Panther #1, Galactic Empire. I'm probably going to pass. Well, I'm going to pass on that. I'm really not that impressed with Ta-Nehisi Coates' handling of the Black Panther. I guess he's supposed to be taking over Captain America soon. And I don't have high hopes for that either. I'm not bothered by any political ideas or social issues he puts into it. It's just that when he was doing Black Panther, it was a boring comic book starring a main character who didn't do very much of anything. You know what I mean? And I don't have high hopes that his Captain America would be much different. You know. Let's see here. Venom. Not that interested in Venom. Uh, excuse me. Lots of Infinity comics coming out. Of course, tie in with the big movie. Hunt for Wolverine, Return of Wolverine. So, I like this cover. I'm not going to buy this comic, but Weapon Lost. I like this this Greg Lanthart right here. More Greg Land stuff that's a little less impressive. Here's Wolverine. Oh, where's Wolverine, I should say. Uh-huh. So that's kind of crazy. Let's see here. So you say who did the art? Oh, here. Is this it? Todd Knock? Oh, wow. Let's see here. Spider-Man 800. I may or may not get that when it comes out. Not that I care that much about Dan Slott, but it's Spider-Man 800. And then I do like Stuart Immonen's art, so some Deadpool stuff. Iron Man 600. I guess this is the beginning of Brian Michael Bendis' run. Oh, look at this. I don't know if this is the cover. Is this the remastered variant cover by John Romita Jr.? This is the end splash page from an old Iron Man comic from the 80s. It was like right around the time when it was John Romita Jr., Bob Layton, and David Michelinie, Michelinie, I think that's how you say his name. And this was like the whole thing. Tony had lost his armor, but now he gets it back, and he's going to take on all of his enemies here. But all these enemies were like C-list guys and stuff, like Spy Smasher and Whiplash and guys like that. But I think it was like from like 125, 126, something like that. Somewhere in the 120s, like I said, part of that whole Demon in the Bottle stuff. Captain America. This looks like the end of Mark Waid's run. Shield number 5. That's interesting. How late is that comic book? Like 3 or 4 years, something like that. Maybe even longer. I'm not too sure. Incredible Hulk with Cho. Young Guns. I guess these are up and coming Marvel artists. Okay. More Venom stuff. The Last Goodbye. So you have a one-shot comic saying goodbye to Jane Thor or Jane Foster. Okay, Spider-Man stuff. Daredevil stuff. Not that interested. Falcon. I'm dropping that comic. I just don't like the art in it. Old Man Hawkeye. Oh, here's a funny Doctor Strange cover. Doc's in a house. He's trying to avoid Spider-Man. Let's see here. X-Men Red Annual, but it says not final art. I did buy X-Men Red number 1. I enjoyed it. Thought it was an interesting enough setup. We'll see how it goes. Cable, because we got Cable and Deadpool coming up. Domino number 2. Domino was going to be in the new Deadpool and Cable movie, so they brought her comic back, I guess. It doesn't say it here, but it's got to be a miniseries. And of course, Greg Land art. It's an interesting Wolverine reprints or trades. Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. First Wolverine ongoing. Wolverine versus Sabretooth. The Dying Game. That's one of the. Is this Adam Kubert? I can't remember if this is Adam Kubert or Andy Kubert who did that cover. Some other fun stuff down here. Colossus and Kitty Pryde get married. Yep. Just know they're going to undo that marriage in like about 6 or 7 years. So, more X-Men related stuff. Another Greg Land cover. Golly. Marvel Superhero Adventures. Let's see here. Star Wars stuff. Oh. This I'm pretty sure Tag and Bink. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I can remember seeing either an ad for the comic or something like this. This has got to be like reprints from the Dark Horse stuff. Because Tag and Bink are supposed to be, I guess, these two stormtroopers or guys disguised as stormtroopers. I think that's it. And they have like these wacky adventures, and I think some of it ties into like the movies and stuff like that somehow. I don't know. But like I said, I remember seeing this image like maybe 10 years ago or something. Lando. Okay, Star Wars Last Jedi adaptation. Variant cover by Joe Quesada. That's actually a nice illustration. I'm not going to buy this comic, but I really like that. That is very nice. More stuff, more stuff, more stuff, more stuff. Statues. Fantastic Four reprints. The old. Here's an omnibus with Stan and Jack stuff. Then omnibus with John Byrne. Behold Galactus. So, obviously Galactus stories. Alex Ross cover. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think this is Alex Ross's best work. It's kind of, Alright, anyway. More reprints. Earth X, which is another Alex Ross project. Todd McFarlane Spider-Man. And more recent trades and hardcovers. Oh, here. Killraven. Check him out. He looks like a Chippendales dancer here or something. More FF reprints. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Because we have their movie coming out. More recent stuff. Infinity stuff. Infinity War stuff again. Again, got our big movie. More recent trades. New Defenders. Punisher. Whatever. This all looks like more recent stuff. Yep. Here's some more Cable, Deadpool, and Domino stuff. I don't, excuse me, I don't know what this is exactly. I know Domino had like some mini-series back in the late 90s, so maybe that's what this is. This I actually do want to get. I've got a couple random issues of this run for Cable. I can't remember who wrote it. I think Jim Robinson did some issues, and I think Joe Casey did a few issues. But the art is by this guy. I can't remember his name exactly, Laquan or Drawn or something like that. But he has this really interesting art style where it seems to be, it's like half Jack Kirby and half Mobius. And so it's really nice stuff to look at. There's more Wolverine stuff. Secret Avengers. Champions. 70s Champions. And that's pretty much it. Oh no. Dakota North. I might try to hunt down the individual issues of that. I actually remember having them right when they came out in 85 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But yeah. So okay, that's it. And okay, good. It's been a half an hour, so that's a good place to cut this video off. We'll do another video, like I said, pretty soon, where we do some unboxing or unraveling or whatever. And that's it. So thanks for watching this video. Guys, have a good day.